welcome to the Dice Tower Daily Chat. I'm the host today, Roy Kennedy, and with me today is Corey Thompson. What's going on, man?
Hey, Roy, how's it going?
Awesome, doing super good. If people don't know, Corey does a few things. You've done stuff with Dice Tower News for quite a
Yep,
while.
I've
Um,
been writing for Dice Tower News, and I have a written blog webpage. It's Dice Tower Dish,
mhm.
where I take famous board game designers and people in the industry, take them out to a meal, and we just casually talk. And it's all written, transcribed interview. Gone through, I think, 11 or 12 designers now. Just finished up with Johnny Pack Canton.
Nice.
So doing that. And my new project, I'm going to be a new member of the Dice Tower News audio podcast. So the audio podcast, in case people don't know, it's been around for a while and it's passed hands a couple times. There's been a couple different presenters on there. Right now it's Jesse Wheeler and Jasper Gray. And they're trying to turn it around, get some new formats going. Should be really good. So I'm going to be joining that in the next, I think, week or two.
That's awesome. Yeah, the whole news thing is always super interesting. There's always so much board game news and stuff going on all the time. How did you get into doing news stuff for board games?
I think it was on the very first Dice Tower cruise. I met Tom and started talking to him, and I wanted to get more involved with the Dice Tower. So I asked him, what's going on? What can I do? And I fell into news. I met with Rob Searing, who's been running Dice Tower News for quite a while. He's also the webmaster for the Dice Tower website. I think he was on Daily Chat yesterday. And I just started writing for news. I like writing. It came really naturally. And mostly I like hearing the inside scoop before the rest of the world does.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you've done Gamma and all sorts of different things like that,
Yep.
trying to get all the scoops on stuff.
Well, I live pretty close to where they've been holding Gamma. I live just a couple hours away from Reno, and that's where Gamma's been for the past, I think, 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's been tough for Dice Tower to get everybody out to Reno. It's a little out in the middle of nowhere. So I just volunteered for Tom to kind of be a representative for Dice Tower when a lot of other people couldn't, and had a great time with it. Got some good interviews, some good news there. One of my favorite conventions. It's just a fun place.
That's awesome. All right, well, I guess I'll start with questions. Make sure to leave us tons of questions. Talk about whatever sorts of stuff. Here's the most important question. Dean asks, Corey, are you going to take Roy out to dinner? Corey told me he's not taking me out to dinner until I design a good game. He only takes designers out, so maybe someday. Maybe someday.
I threatened to take Tom out to dinner, and he told me that he's okay with it, but he's not going to do it until I've got a good number of actually important people under my belt.
So you can bring
third list.
Bring the review or the interview list down by having Tom on it. So I'm just kidding.
So no, I'll take you out to dinner. Design a game for me, and I'll take you out to dinner. And we'll talk about it.
Honestly, I think you took us all out to dinner one time when we were at Dice Tower West. So I think it's already happened.
Maybe. I don't know. I like eating. Food's a pretty important thing.
Kombucha Kid says my mic's low. 1 week my mic's too high. The next week my mic's too low. It's so hard because I can't hear myself.
My mic is perfect, isn't it? It's a brand new mic.
It's because you got that tech over there. That's what it is.
That's it. Room's full of tech.
Here you go. Earth Flat says, that's a great shirt, Corey. Where'd you get it?
Honestly, I think I bought it at one of the Dice Tower conventions from a booth selling t-shirts.
Nice.
So, yeah. Not flat. We checked.
John says, I heard you went to school to be a veterinarian. Is there an animal-related game that you like?
Oh, man. I did. I was a veterinarian, owned my own veterinary hospital for about 20 years, retired a couple years ago. And animal games. Evolution, I had a good time with. I thought that's a pretty good game. Inherit the Earth is kind of like an undersung game that I think is really fun. I don't know what other ones. Those two really jump to mind.
You could be Root and be woodland animals destroying each other.
They're not animals. They're just evil tribes all trying to get at each other.
That's awesome. Stitch says, Roy, you have mentioned working on a game. Perhaps that counts for a dinner. Shh. Shh.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
That's it.
Here's a good question from Kombucha Kid. What do you get if you multiply 6 by 9? I don't know how that's a good question. I don't think it is.
Well, I get math grilled now?
I guess
That's
you get
54.
math grilled now.
That's it.
They should ask you about, like, computer programming language, because I'm sure you're not sick of that.
I've got a really weird background in so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
I did computer work, and I did a little bit in computer history. I was a veterinarian. I was a scientist. I did PhD research in neuroscience, cell biology.
That was one of my favorite things when I had you on Spaces Between, talking about like your background in science and stuff like that. But the fact that you're like, yeah, I was like scientist and like I did science stuff, but I hated peer reviews, so I quit. And I was like, nice.
That was pretty much it. It's a really hard job. Lots of hours for no glory, no pay. It's tough to stay in. You can only really do it if you love it, and I didn't.
I listen to like so many YouTube videos and so many different things about like sciencey type stuff, so I always find it super interesting. But there's no way I could ever like understand like the technical stuff. Like I watch all these people talk about it in layman's terms and things like that, and be like, oh, cool. Like I can have a vague understanding, and it's like,
I love
when it gets down to the math, I'm just like.
That's about where I break off. I love reading and listening to the podcasts about like particle physics and quantum and all this, but as soon as the math comes in, there's a certain point where I check out.
Oh, for sure, because it's like super crazy. It's like, well, the math is telling us this, and I'm like,
it's all math. There's really no proof for most of the particle physics stuff. They're explanations of the math.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just add some more dimensions in there. More dimensions. Give us more dimensions.
11 is where they're at now. 11 makes everything work out pretty good.
Kabuki Kid says, do you have any solo games or any favorites?
Wow, I really like Nemo's War. So I've played that solo a couple times. I think it's a pretty fantastic game. I like it a lot with two players, too, where you alternate the roles. There's all the different crew in Nemo's War, and you can divvy the crew up among two different people. Recently, I got Friedemann Fries's new solo game, Fire, that's kind of a Galaga the board game. And it's hard. It's really hard, but I really like it. And, of course, Friday is a classic solo game. Nyrim I really like playing.
Nice.
So I guess the short answer is yes. And I have to say Black Sonata. If you haven't played it, it is a solo hidden movement game.
Oh, sweet.
It's Sherlock Holmes times. There is a bad guy who is moving around a map, place to place. You're getting clues, but it's solo. The deck programs the movement of this hidden person. You need to find them and arrest them.
Is there like certain points when you get to look at certain cards or something like that to know where they are?
It's got this neat mechanism where the cards have holes punched in them, and you slide a test card underneath, and you get a symbol that shows through the hole, and that says what kind of place the bad guy has just moved through.
Oh, strange. I would love to play something like that. I love hidden movement, and that sounds really interesting to be able to play a hidden movement game while solo, because it's like just figuring out the puzzle.
The designers just finished a Kickstarter for an expansion. So it is a solo hidden movement with an expansion game. Black Sonata. Really cool. That one's impressive.
And it's Sherlock Holmes themed, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Cool. Flat Earth says, is that your number one fan beside you, Roy? It gets hot in this closet sometimes.
He is literally in a closet.
Listen,
I have to hide from just watching you in that narrow little space.
If I pulled out, like you could just see both walls, and it's just like
Hey Roy, do this.
I can't. Let me open the door. No. Listen, I have to find a little bit of peace and quiet sometimes, and this makes it a little bit easier.
My recommendation, if you took Twilight Imperium out of there, you'd have about twice as much room.
You're not wrong, but I would not be able to get as much editing done if Twilight Imperium wasn't beside me. So,
That's true. You just absorb the energy from Twilight Imperium.
Exactly. Take over the Empire. Oh man, it's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy quote, Roy.
All right.
What did I do? What did I say? Did you say it? Did I miss it?
I missed it, and I love those books. I'm not sure what you said.
Something about towels or 42 or something.
Well,
Jordan's asking the question that's on everyone's mind. Corey shaved? Question mark, question mark.
I didn't think enough people had seen me to actually recognize it. Yeah, I shaved.
This is alternate reality. Corey has no beard, and Roy has... I don't know if you can call this a beard. Roy has
time
scruff.
Travel, so I went back a couple years. It was getting big and bushy, and it is in the high 90s outside today here, so it was way too hot. And I got to tell you, after today's weather, I'm thinking about just shaving all my hair off too. It's too hot.
90s is too hot? What about Florida? Florida always is in the 90s. Come on.
Florida's always in a shower. It's just, thunderstorm every afternoon, so humid you can't breathe. I can't.
You walk through and you're like cutting through the humidity as you walk.
I live in the desert, so it was 98 degrees today during the day, but it's going to drop into the 50s tonight.
Speaking of Florida and the Keys, which we really want to talk about the Keys, I had a key lime Krispy Kreme donut yesterday.
Oh, I heard they were around.
Yeah. I got one and I took pictures of it and sent it to like our group text for like all the Dice Tower staff. And Tom was like, "Get back, you devil! Stop tempting me!" And Z was like, "Can you get that in the drive-thru?" And I was like, "Yes." So
yes.
Z's probably gonna end up with some donuts, and Tom's just mad.
Was it any good?
It was pretty good. We ordered 2 regular ones and 2 like key lime filled ones, and they didn't give us the key lime filled ones. So now I have to do a repeat visit and be like, "Yo, you didn't give us the right donuts, but also give me
more donuts." Yeah,
exactly.
I think I need 2 dozen this time just to make sure that I get the right ones.
Exactly. But the key lime ones I did have were really good as well. Oh my goodness. Kombucha Kid. Name a favorite of each. Movie, TV show, video game, book, author, band, and board game.
He's just doing all of the questions all at once. Wow.
Okay.
So movie. I have a question. I want to know about Kombucha Kid.
I know, right? I was trying to say...
He's asking like every question on every one of these chats.
Yeah, Kombucha,
I want to know more.
You should come on the chat. We can get you a voice modulator. We can put just like a shadow or just like your little icon there so nobody knows who you are. And then everybody can interview you. They talk to you enough in chat anyway as it is. But anyway, yeah, hey, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Probably Lawrence of Arabia.
Lord of the Rings. I know that's very generic.
That's a very good movie. It's way up there for me, but I still got to go Lawrence of Arabia.
TV show?
TV show. There's a really obscure BBC panel TV show called Taskmaster, which is my very favorite. It's so obscure, the channel it's on doesn't even have a number. The channel is called Dave.
Nice.
Yep, it's on Channel Dave.
Channel Dave.
Channel Dave.
For me, TV show, I'm not sure, but the first one that came to mind was X-Files, so I'm going to go with that.
Ooh, the old X-Files?
Yeah.
Because they redid it a little bit, and nobody talks about that.
I didn't really watch those. I just watched the old ones.
Nobody did.
Video game. I'm going to say some like old school video game that was on some really old computer.
You have to remember, I've been playing video games on computers probably since 1972.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the computer was the size of your house. No, I'm just kidding.
It was. I have played computer games on Cray computers, on supercomputers. It's really... Okay, favorite computer game. I probably have to go with the old school NetHack. It is one of the original roguelike games, because it was the one that came right after Rogue.
That's awesome. I still like Zelda, Legends of Zelda: Link to the Past for Super Nintendo.
More a Nintendo guy?
I just like the Zelda stuff. I don't know, and that one was so fun because there were just so many puzzles through the dungeons, and I don't know. That's one of the few games I've like beaten multiple times.
I remember playing the original Zeldas, and I had a good time with them. I really liked Skyrim and the complete open world of the Skyrim and the other Elder Scrolls games. They were really fun. Mm-hmm. Horizon Zero Dawn I had an absolute blast with. There's not that many games that I played all the way through. Gotcha. These big epic games, and those I had a good time with. The new Half-Life is amazing. I plowed through
like
that.
The VR one?
Yeah, Half-Life Alyx.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard it was good.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Because you got to have your VR set.
Yeah. Tom tried to do, what was it, like the very last, like the number 1 through 10 on our top 10 list. Tom accidentally clicked the 3D button, so it was in VR, or like in the 3D thing. It wasn't a VR camera, so it just didn't have much space. You were just looking around this tiny little space. But it was like, Tom, why? This is like the biggest video we're going to do this year, and you're going to click the 3D button? Like, what? He's like, I wonder what this does. And I'm just like, I was in the video, so I was super stressing. I was just like, I don't know. I like things to go right.
A couple years ago, Jason marched around one of the big conventions with a 3D camera.
Oh yeah. I liked those videos, and Tom and them were saying that they got
nauseous.
They got complaints. I wonder if anybody would ever be interested in like having a like live play where we're sitting around a table. I don't know what kind of game
I would be
good
interested in that. The only complaint I have with Jason's was that he was moving. It was fast forwarded, so it was moving so fast through the aisles that it was a little motion sickness inducing.
I don't know how you can do like 360 viewing fast forward. You'd want that slow mo, so you can slowly see everything.
Well, he was trying to show all the aisles.
Gotcha.
So it was a little too much, but yeah, a live play or even a studio thing, if you're just doing anything in the studio, it would be cool to have that 360 view. I'd go for it.
I should just like set up the 360 camera like in the studio and just do like a live stream of like work someday if we're ever back in the studio. But
I think that would.
It's like, hey, people could just pretend like they're there with us. I could set up the mannequin and put the 360 camera on the mannequin's head, so it's like you feel like you're there.
Well, that would be good for your side, because then everybody knows the mannequin's watching you.
There you go.
That's a great idea.
We'll see if people ask some more of Kombucha Kid's questions, because there's like 5 more questions in that one thing there.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. What was your favorite game from Gamma?
My favorite game from Gamma this year, I got to go with Sea of Legends. I don't know if you've seen the Kickstarter yet.
Me and Mark were talking about that.
It is absolutely gorgeous. It is such a neat idea. It's an open world 4X pirate game. And you take your pirate guy and you do whatever you want and march around. It's app driven. The stories, there's huge amounts of stories. I think there's like 400 different stories with 700 different pages. The really cool bit is your guy has a lover and a nemesis. Mm-hmm. And everything you're doing, like the lover might come in and help you, or the nemesis might come in and hurt you. In your die rolls, in your stories. And the app might do these weird things, like it tells you that your new story arc is you need to rescue my nemesis, therefore making my nemesis worse and helping your story along. Plus, the miniatures are gorgeous. The art is so cool. I'm really excited about it. It blew me away at Gamma, and it was just a prototype at Gamma.
That's awesome.
But it was one of my favorites.
I've only heard good things, and I skimmed the Kickstarter page, and the miniatures look amazing. And if you're going to say, like, sandboxy, 4X-y style games, I mean, that's my wheelhouse. So
with app-driven story, man.
I know. That does sound great.
Oh, they're so cool. The other one I really liked at Gamma, and again, this is also early, was Lions of Lydia. Did you see that one?
No.
It kind of reminds me of Hadara. It's a little bit simpler. Euro game, collect resources. The really cool bit about it is you've got a bag, like you'd think a bag builder.
Oh, nice.
But at any given moment, you only have 4 meeples in your bag. So you draw a meeple out of your bag, and the color matters. So if you draw a red one, you might collect some red stuff, and you might get some cards that help you get a red engine. But because there's only 4 in your bag, you can tailor your bag that 3/4 of the time I'm getting red, because my engine is geared to do red. But I might occasionally do like a yellow or a green or something. Or I want to split my bag half and half. So you're constantly adding to your bag and taking out of your bag so that you only have 4 in your bag.
Oh, nice.
It's a really cool idea. So that one, it had a successful Kickstarter. The Kickstarter's done now. Probably look for it in the next year. But that one I knew about before Gamma, but I played it a little bit at Gamma, and it kind of blew me away. It was really, really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So here's a question.
Yeah.
Do you have any good stories about celebrities or famous people you've met? I met Corey, so there's my story. So now you go, Corey.
Celebrities or famous people I've met.
They want you to name drop. They want you to name drop like Mark Street. That's what Mark Street always does.
Mark Street
Street's
is
like,
famous. I've met Mark Street.
Well, Mark's always like, I met this person from Star Trek, and this person from Star Wars, and this person from Back to the Future. You know who you are, Mark. He's in the chat.
It depends what you categorize as famous. So celebrities, television, movies, not so much. I've met some people in music because my dad did some audio compression software. My dad's a big computer guy, so I've met some famous computer guys and music guys when Dad was doing the music thing. So I met Lou Reed, Little Richard, but things aren't coming to mind. I think the most famous person that I really met and know is probably Travis. You've talked to Travis on here, right?
Yeah,
and
he's most well known for his puppets.
Oh,
I love Travis. Travis is the best.
Travis is a pretty cool dude. So it's been really cool. I've known Travis, I think, about a year now, and he's just a fascinating dude. It's every time I talk to him, something new comes up that just.
I heard really you guys are playing Gloom Haven remotely, and you guys get to hear Travis do all sorts of awesome voices because he's a voice actor.
He is. So it's really weird playing games with voice actors. I went to Travis's house a year ago, and we played. I think we played Black Angel. Well, we played some board games,
nice.
And it's great because every time he's attacking me or doing something mean to me, it's this like evil Russian gangster voice doing mean things to me, and the voices keep changing and doing goofy stuff every time. So it was really fun.
I love playing games with people that like get into like the character or get into the game and get into the theme of it. I played games with Travis before. I like that's part of my favorite thing is playing thematic games with people that get into the theme.
Absolutely.
Nice. There's several compliments on your not flat NASA shirt.
Oh.
Everybody's loving it.
I thought that was a good choice today.
Where's the questions at? Everybody in the comments likes to talk.
Oh yeah. I've been in those comment groups, and you get off on a tangent and start talking about,
And they're saying I'm in timeout because I got sent to the closet.
You do look like you're in timeout, but it's the greatest timeout ever because you have every board game you could ever want to play.
I don't have nearly as many board games as I used to, though, because, I used to have a lot. When I moved down to Miami, well, for one, I knew I was going to have access to the Dice Tower library, so,
Well, yeah, that's a little motivator.
That's kind of like, okay. So I donated and sold off a bunch of my games, and now I just have, like, my favorite games. So for a game to actually make its way into my collection, just because I'm in a small condo, means that I have to really like the game. And that's why I keep this game that I only play once a year right here. So. And
every once in a while you just lean over and put your head against it, and whisper sweet nothings into Twilight Imperium.
Maybe I should try to play it over Tabletop Simulator or something like that. I normally play Twilight Imperium in May every year because like that's when my birthday is, and it's like I try to set up a game and play it. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen this year. So
you should make it happen. You should play on TTS.
I did play Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea on TTS, so I think I can make Twilight Imperium happen.
There's so many good mods on there. I was dubious, but like you said, Mark and Travis got me into this Gloom Haven game, and it's really fun. I'm having a really good time with it. I haven't really dove into TTS too much before this.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Corey, which city or country have you visited that had the best cuisine?
Japan.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was lucky enough that my father won a big award in Japan.
Oh, nice.
And the government paid to send us to Japan to accept the award. And it was a great trip. They treated us like royalty. So I got to eat the best foods and spent a week and a half there. They actually hired someone to entertain myself and my daughter while we were in Japan. And it was amazing. That food was incredible.
I think like Japan is like the top of my bucket list for things that I hope to maybe someday do. It's like gotta like save pennies and make that happen. Just because there's so many cool.
It was so amazing. It was expensive, but it was so amazing. I also when I was at
I wouldn't be eating cuisine and having people entertain me. But
eating cuisine in Essen. But Essen was pretty darn cool. It's enormous halls, and the booths are not all games. Every third or fourth booth is going to be food or beer.
Did you get one of those potato spiral things? That's the real question.
I got a potato spiral. That was good. But the one that's even better is there's a pastry where they take a really, really hot metal rod and wrap dough around it and just cook it. And then they slide it off and sprinkle lots of sugar and goodies on it. And it is the best pastry in the world. You just eat it hot and you just swoon next to the booth.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Cephalofair, the Gloom Haven guys, because their booth was next to the wrapped pastry booth. So they had to see it every minute.
Yeah, I'm sure at those conventions where Gen Con and stuff isn't like that. Like, there's not food right next to you, and the food in the stadium's not very great. But But yeah, at Essen, that's got to be crazy when your booth is right beside a food place. You're like,
crepes in the morning. Oh, and beer. There's beer booths just scattered in among all the game booths. It's pretty cool. It's like, I'm gonna go here and get a crepe. I'm gonna go here and play with Silly Putty, and then I'm gonna look at this game, and then I'm gonna get a beer.
That's awesome. Let's see. Corey, have you played any good historical space program type games? So like space program games, like
historical,
NASA, or like Apollo games.
Wow, that's a very, very specific question. There was what is the name of it?
But I don't think there's a whole lot.
There's one that has 1950s style cosmonaut art. And all I can think of is Cosmodrome, but that's the company. It's called like Cosmo. Oh, it's terrible. I should know the name of it, but it was really fun. It's a card game.
Oh, nice.
And I had an absolute blast with that one. And of course, Twilight Struggle. You know, I have fun with Twilight Struggle, and that's a historical, and it's got Space Race and all that in there. But I know there's a couple others, but I don't think I've played them.
If you wait quite a few years, then you could say Terraforming Mars. But other than that, no, I'm just kidding. Back when we look back on this video and we're like, oh yeah, Mars was terraformed like forever ago. You know, it's a historical game now.
What's the big deal? Yeah, no, I like Terraforming Mars a lot. It's a lot of people don't know, but so there was an original series of books called Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars that are hard science fiction. They're as accurately as we can portray with real science. This is how you would terraform Mars.
Oh, nice.
And the books are written by a guy named Kim Stanley Robertson. And those are the names they use in the Terraforming Mars instruction book as the example players.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that is sweet. We were talking about Elon Musk's houses earlier today, so maybe he'll make it happen someday.
Yeah, so I don't know. If anybody knows when we're going to terraform Mars, it's probably that weird dude.
For sure. Jeremy says, I love X-Files. That's right. I mean, that's not a question. But I got to put that on the screen.
Well, yeah, of course. My wife was really into X-Files. I watched a couple of them, but I never really got sucked into it.
Back in the day when the old school, like, 90s ones were on, we used to, like, I think they used to come on Sundays. And, like, it was strange because my family wasn't normally into, like, creepy stuff and things like that. But for some reason, my mom and dad really liked X-Files too. So we'd, as a family, get together and watch X-Files every Sunday, which is kind of fun. When compiling Dice Tower news, has Corey ever been fooled by a joke or prank? You just don't compile news on April 1st, right?
I don't think I've ever been fooled by them. There's been a couple jokes that have come by, and it's pretty obvious. It's like, yeah, I know that's not real. There were a couple that were the other way, where we thought this has got to be a joke, and it ended up not being. There was, the Dead of Winter Flick 'em Up.
Oh, yeah.
We were absolutely convinced that was not a real game. And so it's...
Did you make an article on it eventually, or...?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it ended up being real. And there were a couple like that, but I don't remember any where I got fooled by something fake.
I know that Fantasy Flight did a joke one year for Arkham Horror, the card game, and had Barkham Horror with a bunch of dogs. But then they actually made it.
They did. They actually made it. And then
did anybody actually buy the Barkham Horror thing? Like, I wonder what their sales numbers are on Arkham Horror dogs.
I bet it sold well. I bet it sold great.
It did?
People love that. Yeah.
That's so silly.
And then, the whole story with My Little Scythe. So that was great. Nobody believed they were really doing that. Would have been great if they could have put a My Little Pony IP on that. That would have been amazing.
That would be great. My daughter would love it if it had the My Little Pony theme on
it. Probably mine too, and my daughter's 25.
Close in age. No, not.
There you go. It's almost right there. Right there.
What is the oldest game in your collection that you still love?
There's love and there's love. So I've got some games that I hang on to that have nostalgic importance to me, that I really liked it when I was younger, but I know they're terrible games. Top among those, there's a 1982 game called Wabbit Wampage, which is a free-for-all Looney Tunes themed beat 'em up on a board where you can pick up dynamite and blow up the other character and then steal the shotgun, and it's terrible. It's really bad. But it's there. And it wasn't licensed or anything. It was just, there was a rabbit, there was a dog, there was a chicken. It was all the Looney Tunes characters.
Gotcha.
And then I have the original Talisman from '82. And I played that a lot when I was in college. Dungeon Quest, which was the same people who did Talisman. It was just harder and less theme. And then the other one that I really liked, Avalon Hill was the big company back in the 70s and 80s, made huge, elaborate war games. And they had a game called Freedom in the Galaxy.
Oh, nice.
And it was a blatant ripoff of Star Wars. One person was the evil empire who all wear masks and suits, and they were all in black and white, and they had a lot of ships, and they took over planets, and they could blow up planets. And the other player, because it was a two-player game, was the rebellious people, and one was a tall, fuzzy guy, and one was a princess, and one was a scoundrel. And they went on missions, and I just remember it had a huge elaborate board with tons of planets and orbits, and there was so much involved in it. It took forever, but I loved that stupid thing.
That's awesome.
In all reality, I probably played it once, set it up and read the rules and goggled over it thousands of times, but
gotcha.
Could never get anyone else to play it.
Yeah, that's hard with the giant epic games these days, for sure. You were telling me that your collection is probably as big as Jason's, just not all the games are not all in shrink.
I would never say my collection's as big as Jason's. I have a big collection. I've probably got a couple thousand games. But I think Jason blows me away with all of that.
If you don't count the duplicates, it's way less. He has a lot of duplicates.
For a while, he was duplicating, one for collecting and one for playing.
Now he just has two for collecting. And he'll play your copy.
Oh, that's it. He'll take someone else's copy to play.
Yep.
No, I play all mine. Every once in a while, something will kind of get lost behind, and I never can find someone to play it. But then, I try to find new homes for things if I know that they're not going to get played. I did a big board game giveaway during this quarantine period. I kind of let everybody know, all my friends in the area, anyone who was semi-local, I let them know that I was going to put just a ton of games out on my porch, and anyone who wanted to steal them could steal them.
Oh, damn.
So that went over pretty well.
That's crazy.
So, got rid of a couple hundred games, and
there you go.
Some were in shrink, and some were new. Some I just wanted to give to people because they're really cool, and some, were garbage, and I just wanted to get rid of.
Listen, if you take one really cool game, you gotta take 3 bad. That's the rules.
It.
You put them in stacks, and you're only allowed to take a stack.
That was my very favorite thing when. So every year at the Jack Vassal auction, Tom always puts his big box of games, and I've won that a couple times. And
I've heard you've been failing and slacking on it. That's what I heard.
I've gotten soft. It's this past year there was someone else who really, really wanted it, and my wife told me, you should let someone else win it. And I know she doesn't have any ulterior motives to it. She doesn't want me to save the money and not buy more games. But what I love about that auction is Tom's very upfront and says, here's a big box of games, and there's going to be 3 that are good and 3 that are terrible, and there's going to be 2 that are in shrink and 2 that are falling apart. There's going to be random.
Yeah, it's always fun because I've seen in person them trying to put it together, and it's like, what can we throw in there? I was like, I should just throw like my shoe in one of them,
The last one that I got was weird. There was a hat. There was a dog bone. It was randomly full of all sorts of bizarre things, plus a lot of games.
Hey, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun.
It was. I had a really good time with it. I'm sure that's what it's about.
I'm sure you'll love this question. Do you own any vintage computers?
Kind of.
He means I own all of them. All of the types.
Well, I have access to all of them. I have an Enigma machine. That's a vintage computer. I have a 1982 General Electric's Vectrex arcade system.
Nice.
This was a home video game system, cartridge-based, and it was the only home system that had vector graphics. Those are those really cool straight-line, bright light graphics that were in like the Star Wars arcade game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a really cool one. It's but you plug it in and turn it on, it hums. You just know it's giving everybody within a mile cancer. It's just radiating.
Oh, no.
It is an evil device. I have an old Amiga. I have an old Commodore 64. I have emulators to play almost every one of those. Nice. I have some original, going way back, some original mainframe Unix files that date to the early 1970s. Mm-hmm. I had logins and access to Unix mainframes when I was 4 years old. So I made files. I cataloged stuff and wrote things, and the story that my parents talk about is in the early 1970s, a lot of times if you went to a gas station, they would give away glasses. Mm-hmm. And they would be themed in some way. So, you fill up your tank, we'll give you this glass. And there were Looney Tunes glasses that had the Looney Tunes characters on them. And I made a database and cataloged them when I was 4 because I wanted to collect them all.
Another thing I think we talked about it on my Spaces Between podcast, but the fact that your original email address was just Corey. Like,
It was
just your name. If you just emailed to Corey, it would go to you.
Yeah, but there were only, 6 other people who could email you.
Back in the day.
Yeah. The day was a long time ago. No, I had it. It's that email still might be around, but it's gotten complicated. It was Corey. It was a Unix mainframe email address, and it was difficult to email between systems. But there were other kids who we all kind of talked to each other, and we played games with each other. This was probably in the mid 70s, so there were about 4 or 5 of us who had email addresses that were just one name.
That's awesome. Kabuki also asked, how many programming languages do you know? We've slipped down the computer programming computers rabbit hole. I did a whole dinner with Emerson, Corey, and Mark Streed, where I listened to them talk for an hour and a half about computers and programming language, and it was actually very illuminating. It was very interesting. I didn't know half of what was going on, but it was kind of cool.
I have to add, you left in the middle of that dinner.
It wasn't my fault. I had to run things.
And then you came back. You couldn't take it. So you walked out. You're like...
I had to go start a camera for a video thing.
Yeah,
press play, and then I came back.
Like you were working or something.
To eat my marinara sticks.
I was raised by a computer guy. So when I was young, I knew Basic, Pascal, and C.
You were taught programming language before you were taught the alphabet.
I can really age myself. I remember playing computer games at home on the computer before screens were invented. So everything you typed and played printed out on a roll of paper.
Whoa, that's awesome.
And I got in trouble for using too much paper. So that's one of my earliest memories. I remember taking all the paper that had printed out and hiding it, thinking that would keep me from getting in trouble. No realization that, no paper left was a big clue.
The paper with all the little strips with holes on the side of it, where you have to pull those strips off?
But it sort of predates that, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, my mom had a computer that had that way back in the day, so
But I decided after high school that I wasn't going to go into computers at all. I was going to go into biology. Mm-hmm. So I did the science thing, and I did the veterinary thing, and lots of things. So I didn't continue with the computer stuff. So I know C about the way C was in the early 1980s. So not that many programming languages. I could probably get through some weird ones like Lisp and weird turtle languages for graphics that were popular with children in the 1970s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a couple of those.
John asks, has the Dice Tower ever considered streaming on Twitch? Tom did do Twitch for a little while back in the day, and I think Twitch actually came to Tom about doing exclusive stuff there and things like that. But we ended up our entire audience is on YouTube, and we would end up having to try to force our audience to go over and split platforms, have our videos on one thing and our live things on the other. And it just turned out, we just started doing the live stuff on YouTube, and it's just so much bigger. The board game audience on Twitch is so weird. It's very sparse. I mean, part of that is probably because, not a whole lot of board game personalities are doing it. But my podcast I started forever ago did our podcast and stream stuff on Twitch all the time. Back before they even had a a board game thing that you could pick for your category. So we were just streaming under Tabletop Simulator, and after Geek and Sundry started doing stuff, they had a board game category. But no, we just do stuff on YouTube, and we can kind of consolidate all of our audience here. So that's normally why we do it on YouTube. Because we asked people, and people were like, no YouTube, And this was a while back, I mean, I guess Twitch is pretty big, but it's not as big for board games.
I would be like growing a second audience.
Yeah, exactly. And trying to get them to be like, okay, come over here to watch our reviews and our videos, but then come over here to watch our live stuff. And it was easier to just have everybody in one place and try to continue to grow that and get people accustomed to certain times and certain things going on, you know. Let's see. But yeah, it's definitely very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Corey, what's on your sleeves? Roy needs ideas. And money. Well, probably more. I don't need... I have plenty of ideas. Trust me.
Well, I mean, Roy's little tattoo is cute.
What?
But, you know...
I mean, you definitely have way more tattoos than me. Don't you have, like...
I have one!
Yeah, you pretty much have a body sleeve, or, like, everything, right?
It goes down to my knees. I've got...
Listen, we can't tell all... You've told me tattoo stories before. We can't talk about all the tattoo stories here, because this is the Dice Tower, Corey. Remember, we're live on the Dice Tower.
A lot of dragons and water and things here, and
hey, me
wind
too.
and dragons here. Yeah. This is an Aplysia californica, which was the animal that I used as a test subject when I was doing science research.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And an arowana, and octopus, and all sorts of stuff. So,
yeah.
And my back has a huge waterfall with koi. Big crane on my back.
I really want my other sleeve to be space themed. So listen,
Cool.
When Roy comes on videos with a space themed sleeve, you know Roy's doing okay.
Roy's doing okay. No, I haven't gotten a new tattoo in a very long time.
It's because you ran out of canvas.
It's probably been 20 years since I've gotten anything done. Well,
it hasn't been that long for me, because 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been allowed to get a tattoo. But
I got this one in 92. How old were you, Roy?
Not old enough to get a tattoo, I don't think.
No.
Nice.
Yeah, I was in a couple tattoo magazines when I first got my full back piece.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was into it. It was really fun. Most of it was done by wonderful artist named Karen Rose, who does Sacred Rose Tattoo in Berkeley.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Trying to find the good questions.
Oh, there are no good questions. So
only craziness.
There you go.
What are some games that made you laugh? So terrible and unbelievable, etc. Okay.
I know that's good. I like humorous games. I gotta tell you, Clank Legacy is I'm probably like 80% of the way through it with the family, and it is funny. I am having such a good time, and there's a lot of times I just break out laughing. We are having a blast with it. That's an amazing game.
Yeah, we were talking about it before we started this. Like I said, that was like my game of the year, and I played it with Tom and Sam, and it was just we had such a good time playing it. So
that one was great. I'm not really all that big on a lot of the party games, so I haven't done a lot of your Joking Hazards and Cards Against Humanity.
Have you played Telestrations?
Yes. And that's pretty funny. That usually ends in everybody just laughing hysterically, and nobody knows how to score it.
Yeah, it's not about the score. I don't know if I've played a game of Telestrations where I haven't been like laughing so much that I cried. Like there's actually tears coming out of my eyes. And the worse you draw in that game, the more funny it gets,
Absolutely. And then you know about UgTech, right?
Oh yeah, that's where you like hit somebody trying to get them to place the blocks the right way or something.
You're cavemen architects trying to build blocks in a certain structure, but the only words you're allowed to say are "ugh," and it comes with a large inflatable hammer that you're allowed to hit people with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A big club. The other one, actually, one that I played recently that we were cracking up over is Team 3. Do you know about this?
Nice. Yeah.
Team 3, that was really fun, and we were cracking up. 3-player game. There is a card that says how to build a structure out of blocks, and there's a pile of blocks. So you have one player who has the blocks, but they have to keep their eyes shut. You have one player who has the card, but they are... No, wait. One person can't talk. The person who has the card cannot talk. And then there's a middleman who has to kind of translate between them. So...
That's awesome. Cool. What is your favorite component in a specific game and favorite component in general? Do you have a favorite game component?
Favorite game component? I don't know. I'm always endlessly delighted by the meeples in Everdell. Just the fact that they have a platypus meeple and an axolotl meeple, frog meeples. I mean, just awesome. The weirdest picks for a wooden animal. So I think I've got to say the axolotl meeple in Everdell is my very favorite component.
Does the tower...
I have another pick. Pick. So I'm going to say, in general, I like wooden meeples. I really hate them if they're screen printed. So that's my thing. I love wooden meeples shaped, no printing. But my favorite component in any game is in Rise of Queensdale, which was a legacy game by Ilka and Marcus Brandt.
Yeah, I think Tom's currently playing through it with his family.
Really? I didn't think he liked it that much. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. But it came with a tiny plunger. It looks like a toilet plunger, and it's like this big.
That's awesome.
And it's because it's a recessed board with these hex cardboard pieces, and you need to suck out one of the cardboard pieces and then put in a new one. So it comes with a tiny little plunger.
That's awesome.
The game is finished. It was legacy. It's destroyed. I got rid of the game because it's all done. Kept the plunger.
Does the tower in Dark Tower count as a favorite component?
I've never played with the real one.
We had it in the studio.
It looks like the Terminator. I had it in my car. When I interviewed Rob Davio, he was traveling around California. He actually had done a video for IGN showing off Dark Tower. So I grabbed Rob from IGN. Dark Tower went in my car. And then we went out to a restaurant and interviewed him. It was really tempting just to ditch him at the restaurant and drive away because I had the whole game. I had everything in my car.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you didn't get the miniatures at that point. You might as well just wait for your pledge to come in.
Oh, it was great. And the game, I swear, it was in a metal briefcase, like you expect a spy to have handcuffed onto his wrist. It was so cool.
I think that's probably the same one that Justin brought into the studio. Because
it probably was.
I know they were mailing it back and forth to each other with like tons of foam padding around it, like trying to protect it, like it's made out of like some nuclear substance or something. It's got to be protected, you know.
Oh, it was awesome. I scored points though because when I opened up my trunk in the back of my car, I had extra components for Cthulhu: Death May Die. So he shoved his game next to that. So
that's awesome.
I think that scored me points.
It's like, oh, he has one of my other games.
Yeah, there you go.
Indiana Jones or Back to the Future?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I like Indiana Jones.
No doubt.
We did a 80s movie showdown thing with I did it with Mark and Brian. It was pretty crazy. Kombucha Kid does ask also, what's your favorite 80s movie?
See, I lived the 80s. I was in the 80s. And I'm pretty convinced people who love the 80s weren't there. It was pretty corny and pretty bad. So I'm not sure I have a favorite 80s movie.
We did a whole bracket of 80s movies, and the one that made it all the way to the top, spoiler alert if you haven't already watched the video, because it came out.
I want to know now.
It was Empire Strikes Back.
You know, I'm going to throw a wrench in there. My favorite 80s movie, Better Off Dead.
We had tons of people vote for tons of movies to make it in. I think this was like our most like voted on category. I think we had like 95 different movies listed, which is crazy.
People get really into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Once again, Corey, why did you shave the beard? Because of the heat.
I can tell the people who actually know me. They're acting like this is some sort of like pre-planned and thought out event. In all reality, I grow the beard because I'm too lazy to shave. And then when it gets much too uncomfortable, I just take it all off. There is no forethought or malice involved in this. If this hair gets to bug me too much, it's all coming off.
Yeah, I need to... People need to let me know what to do. I've been trying to, sadly... Like, my facial hair doesn't really grow very well. But I'm trying to... I'm like, man, I should just hack it all off. But I've worked so hard to get to where I am. You said that having a beard is just dedication to apathy, but...
Yes!
I feel like I have to work hard to keep a beard, because I'm just like, the razor, every time I'm just like, ah.
If you do nothing, you get a beard. That's like the universal movie symbol for someone who fell asleep under a tree for 100 years. How do you know they fell asleep under a tree? They have a beard. Because they did nothing for 100 years. They have a beard.
That's awesome.
It is.
Dedication to apathy. Austin says, video games or board games? What channel is this?
I don't know. I do love them both.
I like video games.
I gotta go board games, though. Yeah, because I think Roy would get mad and kick me off. Tom would find out. I'd get in trouble.
He's going to be like, listen, you can't be on Dice Tower News anymore. You need to be on video game news.
Oh, I don't think I could handle that. I don't know enough about video game news. I mean, I know history of video games. I can go back and tell you about stuff that happened in the 70s in the computer and video game world, but I can't tell you what's going on now.
Yeah, for sure. Do you like pinball, or do you have any favorites?
Oh, I love pinball. So I actually have 3 pinball machines in my house. I like the big debate in pinball is always, do you like the old school solid state pinball machines where they just ding and bells get hit, but there's no extras? Or do you like basically having a computer that happens to have a steel ball inside? Yeah. And I go for more modern pinball machines. Mm-hmm. My very favorites are, well, the 3 I have. I only got them because they're my favorites. It's the Lord of the Rings pinball machine, which is amazing. The Hobbit pinball machine, which is a very recent one from Jersey Jack Pinball, and it's got
that's awesome.
Ridiculous amounts of video and gee whizzes and all sorts of stuff
awesome.
in it. And Simpsons Pinball Party. This is the weirdest pinball because it sets you on these random quests. I know it sounds weird to say quests with pinball, but it tells you some sort of quick story and then says, you need to hit the ball over there. Yeah. And to this day, every once in a while, I will play this game and some character from Simpsons will say something that I have never heard before. That's and crazy. I've had this game for 10 plus years. It's still, every once in a while, will do something I've never heard before.
So there's just so many programmed things in there.
There's so much random stuff in there. And the humor's great.
That sounds awesome.
It's a really neat... come to California. You can play pinball to your heart's delight.
Corey's just trying to take my quarters.
That's it. I will set it up so it takes quarters, and then, just jingle them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how you buy a new pinball, is you charge people to play your old pinball. Yeah, Tom's a pinball fan. We should get Tom out and play some pinball.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. Pinball is really fun. I've gone to several, old school arcades. It just has, rows of pinball machines. It's always so much fun, to test out different ones.
I've gone to them, too, but we called them arcades.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said old school retro, and you're just like, wait. That's
No, I love retro arcade because I spent a good portion of my childhood in the 80s in the arcade playing these games. So I've got a big arcade cabinet in the house that has basically a big computer inside it that emulates all sorts of games. So I can play almost any old arcade game that strikes my fancy.
Chris says I should keep the mustache and chin hair. Like, do you know how much of a villain I would look like if I just had mustache and chin hair? I would just look super evil. People don't trust me in trader games as it is. They would never trust me. Ever.
But
I would just look
you need to wax it. You need to do the evil mustache wax.
I would, but I value my marriage way too much for that. I'm pretty sure my wife would be like, nah, not cool.
I will tell you, I've done the mustache wax. The marriage survived, but you can never get it out.
Oh, no.
The mustache. It's the equivalent of getting gum in your hair. It is there forever. So it looked great, but then I got tired of it because it's a hard ball of yuck. And I shaved it off, and it looked like a Mr. Potato Head mustache. Like you had just taken a mustache off of a Mr. Potato Head and just put it down. It stayed solid.
That right there is enough to make me just shave everything off. It's fine.
There you go.
Awesome. Mark says that the Hobbit one is amazing. Of course Mark knows. Of course Mark knows.
Of course he knows. Hobbit Pinball is incredible. It's so fun. I play that one forever. And a lot of times I'll open up the house and have a whole bunch of people over for board game mini convention or something like that. And we get people going in the garage and playing the pinball machines, and they just never leave. I got a soda fridge in there, so it's all good.
All right. This is probably going to be our last question here, but what is your favorite Euro game, Ameritrash game, and hybrid game?
I don't really know what a hybrid game is. So
it's a game with theme, lots of theme and Euro mechanics, I guess. I don't know.
So for hybrid, I'm going to say, the one with the giant hex board that no one can decide what it is, begins with a V. Why is my mind blanking on this? From Orange Nebula.
Really likes?
Yeah, from Orange Nebula.
You not being able to think about it.
Vindication.
Yeah, there you go. You not being able to think about it made me not be able to think about it.
Sorry. Euro game. There is a recent Euro game that I think is absolutely really cool, and it is the Lorenzo Il Magnifico card game Masters of the Renaissance.
Oh, nice.
That is the full title. And it should have been just kind of a weird card game version that doesn't make a lot of ripples, but it's really fun. It's got a lot of neat mechanics to it, and it has marbles.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think that's a really cool game. Ameritrash, I love Project Elite.
Oh, nice.
I'm really excited about the new one coming from Cool Mini. I don't know when it's coming, soon. But I have the old Project Elite. You set that timer and just start rolling dice like crazy and knocking over all the minis and killing all the monsters. That's amazing. That's a very fun.
I still haven't played that game, and I'd love to try it, and especially since Tom raves about it so much. But I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to play it until the CMON one comes out. So we're waiting. We're waiting for the.
I get that all the time. You know, I have these games on my shelf that I think, that's really fun. I should play it, and then I go, well, there's an expansion coming in like a month. There's a new version that's supposed to come out real soon. I should wait till then.
That's the problem we're all in. It's the problem we're all in.
I end up just not playing anything.
No, that's the wrong answer. You should pick something to
play everything. Well, yeah. I'm one of those weird people. I track all my gameplays, so I've got
crazy
thousands and thousands and thousands of plays.
That's awesome.
A little less now that I can't go outside.
Cool. Well, I guess we will wrap this thing up. So if people want to know where they can find more about like the content that you do,
sure.
Where can they find you?
So I've got the website Dice Tower Dish, and it's dicetowerdish.com. It is a blog website where I do these interviews with designers. It's all written. It's long-form interview. I don't edit them down very much, but it's chit-chat with these big designers that you've heard about. I write news articles for Dice Tower News, and that's dicetowernews.com. And then I'm going to start broadcasting for the Dice Tower News podcast, and there's links to it on the Dice Tower website and BGG. So
awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Corey. Thanks so much, everybody in chat. I hope everybody's doing well and staying safe with their families. And we'll see everybody next time on Daily Chat. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.
Thanks, Roy.
Bye.